Word Mo, we're live. We're on now.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, you can greet
See.
people.
Oh, hey people. Uh see, listen. This is one of the one podcasts that I am like so happy we started because it took a while.
Took an
You
hour.
guys you guys don't ever know what goes on behind the scenes, but seriously, it took it took a long time. But we're here and we
You
are here to give you the show. What's the show again? Cloak
have
and
really
Dagger.
white teeth.
Who?
You.
You.
It's like shiny.
Uh okay. Mm. Welcome everybody to Earth 2CC's Cloak and Dagger discussion. Yeah, this podcast took a little bit to get through, but we're here. Thank you, Bree. Thank you, Keem, for like waiting and making sure we're still able to do this podcast for you. This one might go a little shorter than how I would have wanted it to, but we're here to give you the show, and it's going to happen. So thank you for again tuning in if you're watching right now. And if you're going to be listening later or watching later, welcome. Um, Title of the episode is Vikingtown something. Psych now. Vikingtown Sound. And okay. Before we go in, last week, Keem wasn't on to do the show with us last week, so I just want to hear from her, her thoughts on last week's episode and a couple of the other ones, and just to see, just to have her catch up to where we are and have her, I just want to know what she feels or how she felt about it. Keem?
So the last 2 weeks, because I know you two discussed the last 2 weeks. First off,
Yes.
I apologize, but my mom and my dad were here, and then we had company come over, and it's not often that I have company, so I was like, I'm not about to rush anybody out.
Yay,
But
company.
yeah, so the episodes for the last 2 weeks, they were pretty dark. Um, Especially last week's episode, it really ended in a place of hopelessness and just I'm actually glad that I wasn't able to be a part of the conversation because y'all look so sad at the end and I am really not here to show that human emotion to the world. So um
That's
I
fucking
think
depressing. Sorry.
the biggest thing that I took away is that Tandy is a shit friend. Like and I feel like we all have that one person in our lives that probably really doesn't deserve your friendship, but you hang in there with them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And in this, I feel like Tandy is that friend because there was like a path, there was a plan where Ty was going to work on trying to figure out how to get kind of find Connors and make everything right for himself. And in the middle of this plan, like Tandy just goes off on her own little adventure to finish finding these girls that are getting carried away in the ambulances. And while it's a noble thing to do, can you just help your friend so that he can like be free and out in the open and actually help you more with your mission?
Right.
And so yeah, then when he needed her there, she wasn't going to answer the phone. And then she paints him to be this ain't shit boyfriend without even giving him a heads up to help get the information out of her counselor chick. And so, and in that, I think that if she had of included Ty on the plans and talked things through, she wouldn't have ended up in the position that she was in at the end of last week's episode.
Like, yes. So even though it was her fault, technically, it's still kind of sad though. Like, you don't ever, even though
No,
you don't
it's
like that ancient friend, you still don't want to see them end up like that.
you never want
But
to
yeah,
see harm come to them.
she was very ancient in that episode,
She was
and
she was fucking up a lot. And it was also because she was so angry at herself. Like she was hating herself the entire episode as well. And we were like,
right.
yeah,
Right,
yeah, you
right,
kept fucking up.
right.
And then you made shit more fucked up.
Hmm.
Yelling at her mom, yelling at her like, you just walk away. Like it's just that easy. Like, no, Tandy, you're
No,
being
it was.
shitty.
But see, the thing was though, it was that easy for her as a kid. She would just like put her headphones on or leave the house
Right, or
and
just
just
ignore
go.
it. Yeah,
And like she blocked all of that out. So yeah, she was mad at herself, like, well, damn, like this was actually happening right in front of my face and I didn't remember any of it. And
Hmm.
exactly.
like And now I've been like such a shit to my mom, to the women in the support group, and
Right.
it's coming
Yeah.
back.
And so what I noticed about Cloak and Dagger or this season so far is that they always give you a little bit of hope, and then by the end of the episode they snatch it right away from you.
Snatch it
Every
right
It's
back.
so funny because
True.
even in this very episode you get a little bit of hope, and then you're like, oh my god, yay, everything is great, and then snatch. It's so I like it though because it's like, you don't always want, like, it's fine to have happy ending after happy ending after happy ending, but then you, in real life it doesn't work like that, and in this show it's something about this show and about the balance of these characters that won't let it work like that. And so in this episode in Vikingtown Sound, let me drop the synopsis real quick. As Tandy tries to escape the clutches of human traffickers, horrible, Tyrone submits to his dark side, tearing up the city to find her. And this is how you know Tyrone is the better of the two, because while he's supposed to be doing what he's doing, like he's has his issues with Connors, his mom, his dad, he stops everything to find his best friend. Best friend according to Tandy in this episode, which is like, I had help. One of the best friends I ever knew. And I was like, really?
I mean, I think he also thinks she's
And
the
shit.
best friend.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
think
he
they're both best
does.
friends. She's just definitely the one that shits on
It's
him more.
but
She's
it's
a
just weird.
mess. Yeah.
To me, it's weird hearing her say it. Not that I don't disagree. It's just weird hearing her say it because she doesn't treat their relationship like he's the best friend. In my opinion, it wasn't until last week that I finally saw that, okay, that she does look at him as her best friend, because when what happened when Deshane shot Tyrone in her memory, that's when you saw her lose hope. So yes, this is her best friend. So I get it, but it's also something where you watch the episodes, previous episodes, and it's like, oh yeah, best friend. I don't know about that.
But you also have to take into account that she's never actually had a real friend.
Yeah, and she's the one who doesn't show emotion though, or she tries
Yeah.
not to show emotion.
Hmm.
And even when
Uh,
like someone is trying to be her friend, she's not the best at reciprocating.
Yeah.
yes,
And she
yes.
doesn't trust because
Well,
she does fucked up shit. She steals and
yeah.
drugs people.
I know
That's
like the beginning of like season one, like he was just being nice and she was like, the fuck you want? Why do you keep fucking showing up?
right. And she
Right.
stole his wallet.
And she stole his
So
wallet.
She stole his wallet. That's how they met. She stole his wallet.
so
So
she's been ain't shit from the beginning. So it's not that surprising, but it's one of those you don't know what you have until it's gone
Until it's gone,
situations.
yeah. So and so the episode does open with Deshane and her like having this conversation, and Deshane is like, "You don't have anything left, Handy. Like you're like he's okay." So in my mind, right, when I'm watching this episode, I'm seeing what they do to these girls. It's not, they don't just take the hope. They make sure they keep at it. Like they have to keep going at it. And so what Deshane was doing to her in my mind was like he had to keep suppressing her, because again, Tandy is someone who can find hope out of like hopeless situations. We've seen her do that, but in this situation, and especially if you watched last week, whatever he kept throwing at her, she kept finding a way to get out of it. Like she almost got out of it, and so I feel like he just had to keep going at her, and it was kind of weird because the stuff he was saying to her during their first encounter, was just very harsh. There's a little truth to it, but it was very, very harsh. Like
Hmm.
you, you have nothing left. You're no one, or you just, this is America's, Handy. No matter how hopeful you want to be, it's still going to be hopeless for you, and all that good stuff. And I'm like, wow, that's harsh. Um, and she walks up to him, and she tries to pull a dagger out, and he's like, you can't try that trick on me. Like you're
Yeah,
done. Like there's nothing left for you. You
right.
have no hope
You
left.
don't have any hope.
and
And
there
I
was
was
no hope
like,
around her.
wow, because you're right about hope around her, because she can feed off hope. Just when, yeah, with the encounter with her and Bayvita last season. No.
Mm.
Um, and so we get out of that situation, and then we get to O'Reilly has been called to look at the break into the dispensary.
Like,
I can call.
but before
Dispensary.
before we get
Better call it that.
that deep, can we just talk about, I think the most hopeless part of that opening scene to me was there are flyers for these missing girls in the
Right.
street. And the
That's the
trash guy
beginning
just
of
kind of like comes and snatches it and puts it in the trash can. And it's right in front of the hotel where all
right.
of
Why
these
they're
girls are being
missing.
held. So it's just like people aren't even looking. They don't even care enough to look because it's right there in front of your
Mm-hmm.
eyes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is kind of weird though. It was kind of like I think
It
the
was
opening was
Dell
very.
too,
Yes, the opening of this episode was very indicative of the kind of episode we're going into because you're right. Um, he
Yeah.
just stomped on the flyer to toss it in trash, and then the camera pans out, and we're looking at Vikingtown Motel or whatever,
Yeah.
and
And
it
then
was
the other infuriating part was, and I'm trying not to drop the N bomb, but this Mickey Ficky Duchesne is like sucking up these girls' hopes and pimping them out so he can play his fucking trumpet and not have a headache. Like
right?
that's
she said it so you can blow your horn.
so
Hey,
you can blow your horn.
can I just say one thing real quick? So remember a couple weeks ago when Deshane came out and I was like, he's very suspect, and you were like, nah,
He's
he's
a
just
good
trying to help.
guy.
I wanted hope. Okay.
I just want to say,
You can't trust the light skins. That's what
as a dark skinned brother, I saw him and I was like,
Mo knew.
you don't look right.
Oh my god.
Something. I don't trust that light skinned motherfucker right there. Something seems fishy. And
So,
then
and then boom. But
damn it.
it's actually very sad if you look at it. If you look at what Deshane and Leah are doing, it's like they're supposed to be like it's just so. Now if we look at it in retrospect, it's like so now who are we supposed to trust if the people that are supposed to be helping us are the ones hurting us, and it's the
Mhm.
worst part. It's the worst thing that can ever happen. Because now moving forward, will these girls ever go to someone to find help? Because this is gonna be something that's gonna bother you moving forward.
Right.
Will these girls ever find go find help? Because hey,
It's
why
gonna
would
be
I go
hard as
talk to
shit.
why would I go talk to somebody else when the last person I talked to
The
did this
last
to me?
two people I talked to.
Right. So it's just very trash. But we go to the dispensary, um,
The grow house.
the grow house,
That's
and
what it's actually called.
oh, is it? Oh, the dispensaries where they sell it, the grow
Yes.
house. Yeah, so so we get to the grow house, and O'Reilly is in there, and she's like, okay, she's studying the crime scene. Tyrone cloaks in. They have a conversation.
They worry that it's Bridget, the bad one.
Yes. But
And
didn't he say she never came out, or he doesn't know?
No, he was
no,
like, she's still in there.
he's still in there. He's not out. And then he sees
Yeah.
the fucked up shovel and he's like, no, I know who did this. This was Tandy. And she's like, I thought you two were like a package deal. Like, why didn't you know about this? And it's like, well, I kind of like said I would be better off without her last time. So
Right.
kind of fucked up. And
That was
that's when he
really
tries
fucked
to
up.
go find her. Okay,
Yeah,
but
but then
she fucked up.
I mean, she did fuck up, but
But yeah, that was a
he's the
little
nicer
harsh.
one. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
harsh.
I
And
guess I'm the only one that's like, whatever. Like,
my thing with that scene is, sorry, O'Reilly says, but Tandy can take care of herself, right? She can take care of herself. She's pretty okay to take. Like, I'm like, yo, Bridget, be a cop. Go find this girl. Like, I'm sorry, O'Reilly, go find her. Because, if it was Bridget, like,
I mean, to be fair, it did
I
not
get it.
show anything that Tandy was in danger. It showed that Tandy was fucking shit up.
But then we hadn't seen her since then. So it's like, what's going on?
Well, yeah,
I
but
mean,
it
he
didn't.
hadn't heard from her. Because I think he said he also tried to call her right there. And she didn't answer her phone. And boom. So what I did like that scene. I liked the interaction. I liked the shovel because that's when he was like, "Oh yeah, never mind. I know who did this." But then we leave that scene, right? And the next thing that comes up was the most gut wrenching for me because we're back in Ty's home, like his actual home with his mom. Go ahead, Brianna. I think you want to do this one.
No, you go ahead. On that little bitch. You do it. You do it. Just do it. Get it over
Right,
with.
so we get there and it's just I was also angry watching this one because I was like, oh, this dude, like I just want to like he has a really punchable face first of all, And he's like, oh, I need to use the bathroom. And she's like, nah, no bathroom for you, bruh. And she's like, what are you about to do? She's sharpening some blades. And she's like, look, man, when I get in my feelings, when I get like this, what I do to either get out of it or to help me process it
Think
is
my
to
way through.
cook. And she's like, I'm going to cook. And while I'm cooking, you're going to tell me why I should, like, why, you were able to murder my oldest son and now take my youngest son away from me. And just, she is a mess. She's a whole mess. And
No
she's just,
fucking shit. And
and
she was like
she's,
real fucked up over the two thoughts she had in her head about whether or not to keep him alive so that Tyrone
right.
can be free, or kill this bitch because he killed her son.
And she can't do either because she's like, she said something that was really deep. She was like, I should kill you because of what people like you have done to,
To me and
people,
mine.
me and mine.
She said, "It's what your
And
face reminds me of."
man, listen,
The
Yeah.
system.
just tough, man.
When she
And
was
Why is
like,
this show
I'm
is so woke?
powerless.
Like,
no,
why
it
is this
was
show
woke.
so woke? Every episode, I'm like, testify.
And it's not like overt wokeness or like boom woke. It's just like, wow.
It's just
That's,
matter of fact. Like
yes.
it's just fact. Like she was like, I literally have you tied up and I could murder you right now, but your face and like I just feel so powerless. Even though she was in
Even
charge.
though
She was
you are in charge of the situation. And
and yet
so wow. God, I'm sorry.
no, it's sad. Like just in last season when she was like, it doesn't matter if you have your pants pulled up. Like she's always known.
Right.
And she has the cop. And like it wouldn't matter.
And
Nothing.
so while this is happening, somebody's knocking on the door. Hey, Tina, I need to talk to you. Open the door. Boom, opens his door, and it's Ty's dad. He's like, yeah, we need to talk about Ty. And he walks in, and she's like, yeah, we definitely do need to talk about Ty. He looks to the left, and he sees Connors just sitting there tied up. Because in his mind, Connors escaped a couple weeks ago. In his mind, that's what happened. Because he never knew what happened. Because they had Connors, and Ty had come in and was like, yo, I'm going to kill you because I couldn't find the files. And so he thought Connors escaped, but then he sees him tied up and he's like, all right, maybe Ty brought him up here. They go up to talk, and I don't know if I saw this right. Did Connors like steal a knife or a
No,
blade?
he scooched up to the countertop where Ty's mom was.
Cooking.
Prepping.
Can we just say
What the fuck was he gonna do?
crab cakes? Word? Like, you gonna make this man crab cakes and he kills your son? Do you know how expensive crab
right.
is? But
Right.
that's neither here nor there. But he scooted up and he grabbed the knife that she was using to. I'm not a crab eater like that. Shuck, clean, pop open, whatever that knife was. He grabbed it in his mouth, but then
They're coming back.
he
So
heard
he
them coming back, so he dropped it and scooted back again.
Okay, so he never picked it all the way up, right? He never took it. Okay, great.
No,
because I thought he dropped it and like stepped on it to drag it to him. So I watched it wrong then. So we
sounds like you didn't watch it at all.
You know what got me about her conversation, the mom's
Right.
conversation with Connors, and maybe this was the scene when Connors was talking about, well, when she was asking like, why are you even trying now to help my kid
Right,
after all
right.
of this stuff that you've done? And he was like, well, I spent all of this time alone,
8 months.
and I that time with my thoughts and my guilt by itself, like I didn't realize how far gone I had gotten, like sinking into like doing all this bad stuff. And the mom paused for a second. And at first I just thought she was pausing because she's like, oh, right, you're on some bullshit. But I think that struck a chord with her because she's doing something.
Yes.
There's something that's happening that's corrupt that she's doing. And she like, I think that just
probably hit her.
struck a nerve with her. Like,
Yeah.
well, I can relate to that because I'm deep in something right now too. So, including having the man tied
Kill my
up,
son, in my house.
tied up in the kitchen while I'm making
Or letting the
cupcakes.
guy who helped cover up her son's murder get away.
Mhm.
Right. And then we
I
leave
just
that
hate it.
scene. I'm sorry. We leave that scene and we're back at the motel, and Tandy They introduce Tandy. Leah walks in and she ready to go. Blah blah blah. He's like, we'll see. And they walk her and then introduce her to another girl. I think Dell was her name. And this is Dell. She's one of the other girls. We're gonna make you in charge of cleaning up Deshane's Andre's room. And I'm like, mop the floor. I was like, ugh. So not only are these girls like sex slaves, right? Not only are they like sex slaves against their will, they're cleaning up. You know what, man? I don't like whatever. Whew. Um. So she's like, Tandy's like, why would I clean up? So I get to clean up his room and mop the floors. And she's like, yeah, if you do that, you get all these perks or whatever. And she's like, no, I'm not doing that. Why? And she's like, how are you making these girls just do whatever they want to do without their, against their will? And to show her power or whatever willpower she has over Dell, Leah walks over to the door, opens it, and says, Dell, you can leave whenever you want. The door's wide open, and I'm like, okay, somebody's gonna run out. No. I was like, what? And I'm trying to figure out what she has over Dell, or what she has over these girls, or what influence she has over these girls. And they don't show it there. Leah and her bodyguard leave the room, and Tandy and Dell start, get to talking, and it's like, hey, this is she told me my family doesn't want me anymore. They don't need me anymore. They're not even looking for me. This is who I'm supposed to be with. This is my new family. I'm like,
And
wow,
she
this
said,
is like,
whatever I need, they provide and take care of us. Whatever
it's
we
like
It's
need, they take care of
it's
us.
not like perfect, but like it's
exactly. It's what I get right now. Some
Yeah.
of the sorts.
Well,
It's
Tandy said, this is hell. And she was like, this is not hell. She's
this,
like, it's not heaven, but
yeah.
it's not hell.
And the whole time Tandy's looking for a way out, and we go back to Tyrone, who now, yeah. Do we go back? No, we leave there and we meet Deshane now walk into his memory, whatever place, his little shadow realm place, his
No.
records, the record store, and he sees the drawing on the door, and he tries to figure it out. He can't, and then he finds a record with Aunt Vita on it.
no,
You missed
no,
it.
you missed it. You
So
fucked up.
you were right the first time, I think, where we
Deshane and
see,
Ty meet up
yeah,
because
Ty
Ty
is
is
like
looking for
going
Yes,
through,
Candy.
he's at
yes,
Duchesne's office and he's like going
yes.
through his stuff. And then
He's like,
Duchesne is like,
can I help you,
can I
sir?
help you? And he's like, I'm
No,
looking
he
for my
says, "Can I
friend.
help you find your friend?" Friend. I was so pissed at that. Like, don't fucking call him friend, bitch.
He's not your
Get the fuck out
friend.
of here.
And so Ty is telling Andre, like, I'm looking for my friend Tandy, worried about her.
Mhm.
And Andre is like, well, you can't be your friend because I've had several talks with her and I've never heard her talk about you. So you need to
Even
go
though that
ahead
was
and get
dumb.
gone. Yeah. It's like, you need to get gone or I'm gonna call the police. And Ty is like, all right, fair enough. I can respect that. So I
Mister.
think he goes to
He
shake his
says,
hand
yeah, and
because he
then
thinks that he's gonna do his cloaky thing and like
right,
look into his fears, but then
Or
he
he's
gets reverse cloaky thinged, and that's when you see Duchesne going into his record shop,
right,
and
and
he
then he
starts.
plays the first record,
he
and
tries to
Ty,
play a record about Tandy and Ty, and
and
then that's when he starts talking shit, trying to get into Ty's head, where he's like, "You and Tandy can never be friends. Like, she's privileged. She's a white girl and you're black. Like, it's just not gonna work out. She's gonna ditch you. She probably left you anyway." And Ty's like not believing that shit because, like, you know, Andre doesn't know all the shit they've gone through and
Yeah.
all the shit that they have together. And so he switches records because he knows that shit ain't gonna play.
right,
And he goes to Tandy doesn't care about you. And after the fight they had, that's a little more believable, where it's like she
yes, and
probably just
that
fucking
and
left.
that one is the one that gets to him.
Yeah, and that's the one where like he starts feeling the feelings. Cause like even if like it's not like the whole what if drugged up scenarios that Tandy went through,
Right,
Deshane can like get into the feelings. And like in the beginning of the episode, he's like, it may not be real, but those feelings are.
Yeah,
the
they're
feelings are
there.
real, but the
Yeah.
scenario might not be real. So yeah,
Yeah.
so my fault. So how did he? Okay, so now the thing is, how did he figure out Aunt Vita? Was
Because
it through the handshake?
yeah, when he was
Once he
playing the records for Ty, he saw the Vevey, and he picked up the Tyrone whatever.
Yeah,
Record.
he was
Last
going
name
through
is.
Tyrone's memories, and that's when he
He
picked one of
saw
them
them.
up with Auntie on it, and he was like, "Oh shit," because it had the Vevey on it, I
Right.
guess, and that's how he went up to her.
And so he goes up to her, and he asks, he starts to tell her. He starts to ask her if she can help him with his issues, whatever, his stupid ass migraines. Sorry to anyone that suffers migraines.
I mean,
Me,
migraines are
Patrick.
tough, but I'm never gonna like.
I'm not gonna kill over it.
I'm not gonna pimp girls out
I don't feel
for
I
headache
don't
relief.
feel bad for him. I don't. Anyways, but he
Headache relief. Also, I was watching this shit on Hulu, and like you get commercials on Hulu if you watch it, and I fucking died laughing because the commercial they gave me was for migraine.
He just needed to see. He
You
right.
needs
just need
the
some.
ad-free subscription to Hulu.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
See, you
And
got headache relief. I keep getting the one like forget all the haters that make you feel bad for getting uh cosmetic surgery, and I'm like, what the okay, okay.
No,
and
I get
this
migraines, and it was like aim to be your better self, and I'm just like, yeah, you should totally advertise to Deshane or whatever
to
the fuck his
Deshane
name
right
is.
now. He's the one who needs to see that. He's talking to Aunt Vita, and how did he bring her into the record store? He,
Well, first they're talking like through cards and shit, like, oh, I need your help, and she's like, oh, Western
yes.
medicine didn't work, so you want magic, and she's like, it doesn't work like that, and he's like, oh,
Did
his
she do that too?
all shucks
Yeah, well,
shit.
she was like, Western medicine didn't work, so now you want to turn to religion. And he was like, actually, I think religion found
Religion
me.
found me. Yeah.
And so she was like, okay.
Okay. But yeah, she does his cards or some shit. And she's like, the cards told me stuff, but it didn't tell me nothing about your character. And she's like, I know you ain't shit. And he's like, okay, but I still need your help with something. And then at one point, she says, I'm Mambo. You can't just lie your way through. I see through the bullshit. And he grabs her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they
Yeah,
go into
because
the
he was
record
like,
store.
this is serious. I'm not playing any games. And so he grabs her.
And
Yeah.
then in the record store, no, no, did I skip something? Because
I mean, you
Yeah.
skipped a little bit, but
yes,
I thought we were going.
Because Tyrone was on the bus,
Yeah, Tyrone goes through
like
and
really sad and kind of
all
like,
sad and shit. And then
and
O'Reilly, no, Bridget,
Yeah,
Bridget,
who's
aka
stuck in that
Mayhem.
world. Yeah, Mayhem, who's stuck in that world, is in the record shop. Like, what the fuck is happening? And she's hiding from Andre, but she keeps going through the records, and she's like, "What the fuck is this?" And she picks it up and like tosses it to the side, passes it. I don't know what the fuck that word is, but she plays a ballerina record from
and then
Tandy's.
and then
And
all the ballerinas come on the bus or the tram, and
I thought that
Tyrone
was so adorable.
starts to
It
get
was super
happier.
cute.
It was super cute. I now I want to wonder what she whispered to the other ballerina before Tyrone happy cloaked out of there, because she
That
turned
was
away to whisper.
adorable.
Yes,
And then
and then
like they
she,
all look like, what?
Where the fuck he
Where?
yeah,
go?
and then you just see, yeah, and one of them is fanning the smoke, and it was kind of cute. And Tyrone is like, okay, I got to do what I got to do to find my girl. So because now he's found some type of hope because of that.
Well, yeah, and then
Because Bridget had
Mayhem
switched the
plays
record.
the ambulance one,
Yes, and then she plays the ambulance one, and
and then
then
the ambulances come,
he
and he's like,
calls.
"Oh fuck,
Then he
I know what to do."
calls O'Reilly.
O'Reilly.
He's like, what's really good with these ambulances? Like, what have you heard from them? She doesn't tell him anything. He goes to the top of the roof and he draws it. Did he draw Veve? I wonder what Veve
Yeah,
he drew.
it's
So
the
It's
same
not
one.
this.
I
I'm
have a
pretty sure it's the same
question
one.
Go ahead.
on the Vevey drawing because so every time you use it, do you have to keep drawing it bigger and bigger? Because I
I
swear,
was wondering that too. Like he
No,
didn't need a record that big, did he?
like it just started like with a little thing, and then all of a sudden it was like gunpowder and stuff, and now he's
He
on
kept making it
rooftops.
bigger.
I
Yeah.
think because
Like
he's trying to find someone, so he wanted it to. I'm going to try to. I'm not. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure, right? If you're looking for someone lost in a whole city, you want the bigger the Veve is, the easier it is for you to find
true. I
people.
mean, like just
Connect to the
area,
energy. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
but then here's
area.
another question on that. So if you're drawing this big ass Vevey so that you can find your
It was
friend,
fucking huge.
why don't you just say, take me to Tandy?
Because the big Veve is cooler than the tiny one.
Well, but
Facts.
Honestly, I thought the same thing. Like, why didn't he just fucking cloak to
you could
Tandy
have
like
just
he's
gone
done like
straight to
multiple times
Tandy. But
before?
I mean, don't get me
Yes.
wrong, that scene was badass, and I was
Yes. It
like, you
was
know what,
really
Ty,
cool.
I fucks with you, Ty. Okay, all
That's
right,
some dedication right there. For you
Team
to join that,
Ty,
for you to join
because he
that big ass Vivay, that's some dedication.
well, he drew the Vevey, and then instead of saying, take me to Tandy,
Take me to the
he goes
ambulance.
to an ambulance, and
Does he
one of
say
the
anything?
ambulance drivers.
I think he was looking for one of the ambulances, the one,
True,
with the.
but like, does he just? Because like,
Because the last two times
has
he said, "Take me some." He's asked Vivay to do something, right?
Hmm.
yeah,
And this
but like
time,
this time, I feel like he's just looking for anything that will help him get to Tandy,
right?
and so it took him to the ambulances. But
That's
like, I
it.
didn't
That's
know
how
if
I
it was
looked
because
at
he
it.
was going for the ambulances or if he was going for Tandy or just
Like,
going to
because
anything
you
that would
legit
get
could
him to
have been
Tandy,
like Tandy, and then just been right in the room with.
right?
Or maybe he did try that, and because she's not where she's not optimal, he can't connect to her anymore.
Yeah, like that too. Like maybe because like she didn't have her daggers and her power, like she couldn't do it.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
So I mean, there's a lot of ways to put it. I hope at
I
some
mean, I
point
would think he would have tried that first too
that yeah, I would think that's the first thing he would have done, like
when he
Tandy,
was
but
calling her and
because
shit
they are connected, right, in a way. Because I think the
Mhm.
first time he ever cloaked was he cloaked to her.
to her. It kept
Yeah,
cloaking to her,
yeah.
but like
So
a lot has
yeah,
happened since then.
and then
Also,
go ahead.
we missed something before we get to the next part of
Oh yeah,
Ty's
yeah,
thing.
yeah. Because Tandy
Tandy
tried to escape.
Tandy tries to escape, and Dell's a punk ass bitch
Fucking
who
I
snitched.
yes, she did snitch, and it's kind of weak. And
So
then
there's irony in that scene though, because just a minute ago, what's the head chick, the head
Leah.
nurse,
Leah,
Leah.
She's like,
Leah's
oh,
like,
anyone can just
you can
leave.
leave anytime you want to. So
Apparently,
then,
fuck
like,
not.
Tandy shakes the spot, and the first thing that Vel does is like,
you can't leave.
she tells on
There are
her.
rules, and
You
apparently the
can't.
rules is don't fucking leave.
Right,
Yeah, like
So
there are rules, and those rules have consequences.
right. And then they get her really high.
they get her
So
fucked up.
what exactly are they blowing in her face?
I
Because
wasn't sure. I'm not really into. I don't
like
really do any drugs.
I am not familiar, like past my dare education in the fifth grade. I really can't tell you much about drug use, but
Oh man, I don't know because at first I thought it was heroin. Right, that's how they kept the girls sedated in the ambulance. Right.
mhm, well, they just put something in them. I didn't know
They
if
were
you.
definitely pumped up with something. I'm pretty sure it was
Yeah,
heroin
because
for Kayla.
I also think it was heroin for damn. If it was heroin for Tandy in the last episode, remember she was itching.
See, was that
She
heroin?
was scratching because I don't know what
Well,
heroin looks
that was
like,
a
what
oh,
color, because it was a red vial.
because I'm like, can you smoke heroin? I thought you had to shoot it.
I
Like I
think you
don't.
can. Can you smoke? Oh, is it crystal meth? I don't know.
We don't do drugs, you guys. I don't know.
But yeah, they got
I'm
her
so
super
glad that none
high.
of us up here can like just like
I'd
hell
be like,
yeah
oh
you can
no,
smoke that shit. Let me let me send you my recipe. Um,
this is how you really cook it. But yeah, they had Tandy fucked up, and she was like smacked, and she couldn't move.
Yeah, she couldn't move to the point where Leah could just treat her like a fucking doll and get her dressed up.
Right,
get her
that was
dressed up and stuff.
sad. And then that was when you start to know like shit was getting real. And at that point, in my mind, Tandy was probably the most devoid of hope she'd ever been. Because you could just look at her face and tell like she was just done.
Like she's a fighter
Um,
and she couldn't move and she couldn't
right,
do anything.
Hmm.
nothing.
And this bitch was just dressing her up like a doll,
Um,
Putting her in tacky clothes.
right? Like a
The dress
5-year-old.
wasn't even cute.
but she was dressed
The
up in
fucking
like
shoulder
young
parts.
people.
Okay.
Yeah, and
The
and
shoulder
that's
parts,
sick
that was
That's a
because
separate
there's
conversation.
there's probably a reason they had it dressed up like that because it was
that guy.
yes it was something that probably the guy requested like, oh, I just want blah blah blah, and that's why. Oh no, not, you know what, but yeah, we leave that scene. So we skipped a couple, we came back, and we're now back where we are.
Then get me back to mom.
Ty cloaks into the ambulance, and then he grabs the guy. He's like, "Yeah, where's the girls?" And They cut that scene off. Now we're back at the house, and this is the. So if you think mom already broke your heart earlier when she was like the system, she would have fucked you up right here because she's like, you took my son, and I didn't even get to bury him. I just want to bury my son. And
Where's
I'm
his
like,
body?
yo,
Where's his? And then Connor is like tries to give some bullshit. We
I got
drank the
buried
river
again.
and they couldn't find anything, and I was so scared. And she's like, I don't believe you. And so then he comes out with the truth
And he's
of
like, I buried him somewhere. I was like, oh my god.
Fairgrounds.
the
And she just
fairgrounds.
drops, and you just could tell like she was just done. She's
No,
done.
she
Like,
dropped before that.
She dropped. Yeah, she drops before
She
that,
dropped
crying
before
about how she
that
just wants to
because
bury
she
her
was,
son,
yeah, she was like, I
and
don't
that's when
believe
he's
you.
like,
And she put the knife up to his throat, and then she kind of fell down. And then he says, buried at the fairgrounds. And then she was like, okay, then. And so then she gets back up and takes out two plates, like, well, let's continue.
I was like, wait a minute, you about to feed this bastard?
Crab
I'm
cakes.
sure Brianna didn't like that.
no, I
I
want it.
I have feelings about about it. Like you give that man some boxed Kraft mac and cheese, the one where you just add
Ugh.
water to the yellow
Hey, I like
stuff.
that one.
You don't. Sorry, Bree.
I don't have bougie taste. I'll eat anything.
Like, but you do not make that man crab cakes, like
No,
fresh
you
crab
definitely
cakes
don't.
from
You definitely
scratch.
don't. From scratch, because you can see her cracking open the
She was
crabs
doing
too.
a shit ton.
Um, and so we're done with that, and we're back at the motel. And at this point,
No, wait.
Tandy's.
No,
Oh
no,
yeah,
you don't skip
I'm
over.
sorry. Record shop. We're at the record shop,
Yep.
and now she's asking. Deshane is asking Vita like, hey, like, what do you? No, so I need since you can like this is what I need you to help me with. Is it gonna get my headaches going? And she's like, oh, you have a Veve, and it's like on the path of you becoming a god. And he's like,
Aloha.
would Aloha, and would that like get my headaches going? And she's like, look at you, you have this is what you do when you're playing God. Like, what do you think will happen? Like, you could just leave it and walk away, or you could. And he's like, I'm gonna show you mercy. Can you even show mercy? And she turned, and he's like, yeah, pick a record, any record. She turns around to grab a record, and she sees Bridget, and she signals to, she looks away, and then she grabs the record. He
It
grabs
was
a
her
record.
happiest one.
Hmm.
Yes, and he grabs one, and then they're both playing it. His record had drawings of hearts on it, like actual
But like,
hearts,
yeah, so like a
not like
real
yeah, not the
You
a
mean tell me
real
some
heart.
Valentine's Day
Yeah.
third grade shit?
not these things. Your
The
actual
An
human
anatomical
anatomical
heart.
correct
heart.
part.
Yeah.
And she
Not
and the record
these
she's
things.
playing happens to have Evita or a mention of Evita. Like I think it's Evita's mom and her having a conversation about the hospital, what the doctors say.
I'm
Her
pretty
That
son
sure
was
about
it's
just born.
Evita being born, and the
yeah,
mom wanted to know if she had the veil so she
right.
could.
And so
And
he's playing his record of the heart, and you could just hear it, slow down as he's
Beating.
going, and he puts his hand on it, and she looks again over his shoulder, and she sees Bridget. And while this is happening, she's signaling to Bridget to just not do anything
Wait.
because maybe she was trying to see how far it would go. Maybe she was trying to play him. I
Well,
don't.
she asked him like, how does this all work? How do you use all of this?
Right.
So in that, she gets to find out, and also Bridget is there to
Bridget
hear
gets
it
to,
too.
yeah. And so we leave that scene, and now we come back, and Tyrone is speeding through in an ambulance, and I'm like, yes, this is great. And then cut to Dell, like talking to one of the after. I'm sorry, draw back a little bit. Tandy has been talking to Dell like, hey, you need to, like, this is not what it's supposed to be. This is a lie. This isn't where you're supposed to be. You can get
Hmm.
your freedom. And, she's been talking to Dell, and, Dell, it looks like Dell doesn't want to hear it. But
Well, so one of the other things is Tandy is like, I can't move, but you can. You can get out of
yeah,
exactly,
here. And Dell
you
is
can go
like,
get
look,
help.
we can escape, but I mean, the best thing that's going to happen to you if you escape is that you'll go to jail. But we had a group of girls that were supposed to be delivered last week, and they tried to
Yes,
escape, and they all got killed. And so
exactly.
then
Because that's
Tandy's
what
like,
Leah had told. Dell, and she's
And
like,
so
no.
she's like, "Wait a minute. I
If you
was
didn't.
there. All those girls got saved." And she's like, "What?" Like, there's no way you could have saved all those girls by yourself. And she's like, "I
He's like,
didn't.
yep.
That the best friend I ever had helped me save them." And so that's when Dell is kind of like, "Hmm."
Hmm.
And so then
Jinx.
she leaves the room and chats up one of the security guards
And
who's
grabs his phone.
trying to get
Tandy.
a drink out or something out of the vending machine. So she grabs his phone and goes and sits down and she starts Googling shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Do your Googles, man. Listen. Just and Leah walks in and Leah's like,
The
what are
fuck
you
you doing?
doing? And she's like, you lied to us about the girls. I can go home. You lied to me about my family, blah, blah, blah. She's like,
she's
what do
like,
you
my
mean?
mom has been looking for me this whole time.
She's
The
in chat room
flyers
groups. She's in
everywhere.
everything. Those
Yeah.
girls were fine. And while this is all happening, Tandy's about to get raped by this creep.
Oh my God, that was kind of painful because he walks in and drops the money on the dresser.
Mm-hmm.
But then you see Ty, and then they cut from that to Ty in the ambulance, just like, ew, ew, ew. Sorry.
I get goosebumps just thinking about this scene.
Right.
That whole setup
It
just
It
was
was
so
so
cool.
great. Like the last 2 minutes or 3 minutes or however long the shit was beautiful.
And then
And it was
Ty
just really
crashes.
sad that right before Auntie
Right.
dies. And then
Right.
Mayhem starts breaking all this shit
All
up.
the records. So now all these girls start finding any little bit of hope they can find. And next thing you know, Tandy's able to pull a dagger out of nowhere. And it's like, yo, it's game time, bitches. Let's go. That was me the whole time. I was like, let's go. and
I
the
loved it.
dude is like, oh my God, what is that? He dips
It didn't
out.
show, but I really hope she just stabbed him. Just a little.
Yeah.
And then she
just a
and so
shiv.
while Leah and Leah and Della arguing and Tandy like stabs the
That
wall,
was great.
grabs Leah and is
By
like,
her throat. I really just
I was like, oh my God. I was exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, just go ahead. It's a little slice. A little
See,
slicey
I'm
slice.
all about the vital organ shivving. Like, just grab her through the wall and then just right right in her side.
okay,
And
but Leah would have fucking deserved it.
Ty
But also just
crashes.
the moment
Ty
Dell
crashes.
is like, I have hope.
Tandy
Everything
starts, everything kind of
That's
changes.
when
Ty crashes into a motel. He cloaks out, like right before he crashes, he cloaks out, and you just see him standing all cool, like smoke and everything. I'm like, oh!
and then he fights the big ass bouncer, like comes running
Right!
over to him and he's
He
like,
That's the
leaps in
Mortal
front of him,
Kombat shit.
and then
yes.
he grabs him and flings him, and I'm like, oh my God, Ty's going. Next thing you see him cloak out of nowhere, like, ah, cloak. I was like, let's go!
That was literally straight out of Mortal Kombat. It was great. I loved it.
That was so dope. And then he's fighting everybody. And then Del asks Tandy, like, what are you gonna do? She's like, I'm gonna go mop the floor. Dagger, dagger.
Just dagger. I mean, she's just daggering down walls and
And
running
then
through that shit.
and then the best scene happens. You just see both of them just break into, like, she daggers into a room and he cloaks into the room and it's like, Tandy, Todd. Oh, it was so
Like,
dope.
are you okay?
And we cut from that scene and you see Auntie laying on the floor. I was like really sad. Brianna said it. She's crashing all the records. So I wonder what happens to Deshane after this. But next thing you know, you just see Ty. He's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm fine." And then he just drops.
Oh,
And I kind of I know that it's kind of sad, but I actually liked it. The visuals are so cool. He's
It
laying
was really
down,
cool in
bleeding
terms of
out,
and it's
visuals.
just
but he's smoking out.
smoke. And I'm like, oh. So the visuals were really cool, but I'm like, oh, it's kind of sad. I shouldn't
Where
be like
they
looking.
were like, oh fuck yeah, they found each other. Oh fuck yeah, they're working together. And then
Like I
Ty's
said,
like,
it gives you this again because the rest of the episode is hopeless up to a point. Then you get this little bit of hope, and then they snatch it away from you with time.
Well, see, I can't even say that I feel hopeless at this point because I was telling Bree earlier when we were trying to get everything worked out. I was like, the show's called Cloak and Dagger, so you know he's not gonna die. Like,
yeah.
you know he's gonna be okay. It's just a matter of what
I
are they
hope
gonna
it.
have to do to
I
get him
think,
there.
yeah, I
Like I
think
said,
it's obviously I know he ain't gonna die because obviously.
but
But
it's
I
just
think what the show does really well is that it was very sudden. So I know if I think about it, it's not going to happen. But while
Mhm.
I'm
But in the
watching,
But
moment,
in
I
that
was
moment,
like pumped up on everything that was happening, and then bam, what the fuck?
yeah,
Just
because
like when he gets shot by Andre, it's like I know he ain't dead. I know it's not real, but
no,
at that
that
moment, I was like pumped up, like yeah, we got these bitches, and then oh, it's
because
real
I'm like,
sudden and like
because I'm when that happened when Andre shot him, I think yeah, like you said, I was like, man, he's not gonna die. But in the moment, it's like, yo,
well,
why did he cloak? Like, what the hell? Like, and then I'm like, oh wait, he ain't dead. Like
no, I knew that was part of a vision, but what made me sad was I knew that that was going to be the vision that broke Tandy
that broke her
and
because
made
he
her
did
just give
say
up hope.
everyone has a breaking point. You just need to find it. So now, and that's the end of the episode. But I mean, all through, I really enjoyed it. I thought this was it. Again, they've done 3 back-to-back strong episodes, in my opinion. Like, and what they do very well, like I said, is they have a mix of not just the emotion, and they just have a way of mixing in like real life. Like Brianna said, it was just facts when the mom said what she said because it's real life, even though it's on
All
this
the way
TV
through.
show. Yeah,
And
but
even
yeah,
with
the
Tandy and Ty's
her
relationship
situation.
and
Yeah,
what Andre said, like she's a privileged white girl, and
she
um
is.
like he was like, but she feels guilt and blah blah blah. But I was like, no, but she is kind of
She's
privileged though.
still
She
very
gets away with a lot of
yeah.
shit that he would
that
not
he
be able to
wouldn't.
get away with.
Right, and
But I think
but
Andre was trying to play up the fact that like she was privileged in almost every way. Like she didn't like she. I think he was trying to play up the fact that she doesn't suffer in the same way that Ty does, but Ty knows that she suffers in her own
in
ways.
her own way, yeah. But
And that's where
again,
he messed up.
Yeah.
yeah, it's and another thing that I really like, especially with this week, is well, I don't know if I should say I like it, but again, just the way they framed the trafficking and what these people do to these girls. I don't. I'm not gonna say I liked it, but it's just very
But
Well done.
it paints a
visceral.
good picture. And even though Andre is literally sucking the hope out of these girls, like through magic, you know that in real life situations, they are taking the hope away from like real life victims. And that's how they
Right.
end up getting
Just
like messed up in this cycle for so long
it
because
is giving in and just doing it because
they're being
again, with
told your family doesn't want you, nobody cares about you, you might as well
you might as
go
well just
along.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just it's very strong and very visceral what really happens. I mean, how they do really well to merge real life and these these real life circumstances and this fantastic world of Cloak and Dagger, and it's very enjoyable. It makes the show a little better in my opinion. Their good mix of it. Um, I'm very intrigued to see what happens next week. How is Ty leaking that dark matter? Like, is that what
I
he's
don't even
doing?
know. I wonder if it's connected to the records.
See,
Or that's what I
I
was
kind of
thinking
felt
too.
that way. I kind of felt like maybe this is Mayhem's chance at busting out of that joint while everything is like
See?
crazy.
But also, it's
Because
like Mayhem. So like Mayhem's fucked up, but I don't think she's necessarily like
she's not evil.
yeah, like
No.
she's not. She wanted to like kill Andre. Like she wanted to do
Yeah,
good things in terms of justice. She just does it in a
in a twisted way.
She's an
yeah,
anti-hero.
Yeah,
yeah.
very, very anti-hero. And again, because what she did in turn saved the girls. Um, but granted, it probably did have a negative effect on Ty. Um, maybe she gets out that way. I'm very interested in seeing what happens next week. I'm also very interested in seeing how they close the season. Do we get Mayhem and Bridget coming and O'Reilly coming back together? Or is one gonna kill the other? Obviously, I feel like O'Reilly will end up killing Bridget because I don't see how they can keep that going. I'm just
I don't know.
interested in seeing what
I think Mayhem's gonna live. I don't think
you
Mayhem's just
want.
gonna
No,
die.
you want Mayhem to live.
Yeah, I
I
could
think
see
just
her going into another season though, and her not
Okay,
necessarily being a villain or their enemy.
they
She's just
figure out a way to
someone
work with her.
who pops up when shit gets real and
I
They
don't know.
need a
She
something they
seems like
can't
tougher.
kind
do
of a
anything.
Punisher type,
Right,
Yes.
right. They need a tougher
where it's
O'Reilly.
like people are like, "Don't kill, please."
And Mayhem is like, whatever. Do you see these nails? Like she's just taking people out.
So overall, Keem, what did you think of the episode?
I enjoyed the hell out of this episode. I was so happy that this was the episode that I come back on. Not last week's sad one, because even though it ends on like where we're held in suspense trying to figure out what happened with Ty, like there was just there was so
More
much
hope in this
hope
one.
in this episode,
Yeah.
where whether it was Tandy convincing Dell to like go out and investigate for herself, and even though we lost Auntie, like Auntie not falling for the bullshit and speaking up and saying what had to be said, and then of course Ty just being a total badass, and maybe that's what's wrong with him, is he did too much,
Hmm.
and so now he's like unstable for a bit, because remember like when they were saving the girls and he was doing all the cloaking and stuff,
That's true.
he fell out for a second because
He did a lot.
he's not fully like
Cloak, yeah.
acclimated in his powers yet. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Like I'm anxious to see what happens next week, and I'm glad it left me on this moment of hope, because I know Game of Thrones tonight will probably leave me devastated for the rest of the week. So at least I have that to carry me through for a little bit.
Right. Brianna, how'd you feel about this one?
I loved it, like always. It was definitely the most emotional roller coaster episode for me so far, just because of everything that was happening. I felt like it was real fucking dark for Tandy. Like, even though there was definitely like hope and I knew like it'd be fine, I felt like it was like a little too real for me for what Tandy was going through and how close she got to that end part.
Yeah.
They
Like,
took it there.
they took it really
They
close.
they just walked right up on it, because I was like, are they really gonna let this, like,
They
is
went
this
to
gonna
the
happen?
line. They went to the like, yo.
I mean, like
That's
the first episode of like the show, Tandy almost gets raped and she
yes.
gets her daggers. And
And
so
that's
like
what.
it was like she was back to not having the daggers and almost getting raped again. And like it was
Yeah.
just, like
Yeah.
it
Because
was
if
it was really close.
yeah, it's very it's so they go to this line so much. I mean, especially if you think back to the first episode, now that we know, if it's someone who's never watched it before, and you try to tell them, or they're watching it for the first time, because again, you don't know who she is or what she's capable of doing, and so you don't know what's going to happen.
That's true. Yeah.
So when she defends herself, you're like, okay, and then now you
Oh
bring it
shit.
all the way back to this one where they start
You
off the
know.
episode showing you that she can't use her daggers. So you know. Then they get her high. Then she can't move. And then they just it's like they push the envelope of the first episode even further with this one.
Well, and
With her
they also reversed, because remember she was drugging people to take
yes.
it, not necessarily to have sex with them, but to rob them and take advantage. And now she was in this
Jesus.
position where she couldn't move, and she was about to be taken
Taking it
advantage
yeah.
of.
It's you know what? I
They
hate
go real close.
I hate ending episodes like this. Because then we get really real and it's like, wow, this is
And
crazy.
like what's it called in the beginning of the season when she has like her little freak out with Ty when they find the girls and she's like, what's even the point of being
Mm-hmm.
being a woman? Like she has a whole breakdown when they find the girls. The one that
Right.
Mayhem gets
Mhm.
The one,
free,
yeah,
not the one that they do. She has like a freak out about like how like it's all fucked up and like they can't do anything about it. And then she gets put in that position of those
Same
girls.
situation.
And
wow.
you just
Just like
they get real
Missandei in
fucking
Game of Thrones.
They really get almost Game of Thrones in this. I'm kind of glad it isn't Game of Thrones because they would have
You would have
and
seen
you know what?
everything.
This is
they would have
technically a
taken
Disney
it there.
show. This is technically a Disney show.
Well,
I went to
Bree,
Disneyland. They have a poster of Cloak and Dagger at Disneyland. Okay,
Disney
where like
kills
5-year-olds are running.
moms. Disney kills moms, so this doesn't even
Oh man,
surprise
that
me.
was back in the day. Do they still do it? Have they
They still
still
kill
do it?
moms. No, now
Pretty
they
sure they
moving on to
still do it.
grandmas.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah,
Coco, Moana, they killing grandmas
uh,
now.
yeah they are. They are. Sheesh, Disney's kind of dark. But
Me
no,
too.
I really enjoyed this episode. I'm kind of sad for Auntie. I wonder how that plays into it moving forward. Like, what happens now? What
I don't
happens
think
to
it's the end
Keem?
for her though.
Deshane
She's
has to
probably
die.
gonna like talk through
Evita.
Evita.
So
Evita.
we're gonna get more baby.
There's probably gonna be way more Evita.
Yeah. You know what? I don't want you celebrating Auntie's death because you're gonna get to see more of your TV boo.
Oh my god.
Stop it.
More baby. Let's go. I could do with that. Like I'm, because we haven't even got her once this season, or maybe twice. Like we got that episode where he was
It's like
watching her,
twice.
and then
Once
we
or
got
twice.
yeah, and then we got the episode where he used her.
Well,
Where
she's
they
definitely
got
coming back now because of her auntie dead, and she's gonna be like, "What the fuck?
Where the hell
Fuck
is my
Ty."
aunt?
and also what happens with Mom and Connors, because our Mom and Connors gonna team up to take down Uncle, because
I doubt it.
it could be Uncle who is also holding something over the head of Mom,
Mom.
and that's why she's doing what she's doing. Because
Was it the same guy?
if we go back to the episode where
She
they're
votes no.
yeah, and she votes no, there was somebody definitely watching her in the back,
Yeah.
and
Was that the uncle?
no, I think that was
Just some
somebody else.
random white guy?
Yeah, probably somebody who works for the uncle.
But maybe his uncle's people.
Yeah, so I mean, if she tells Connors what's going on with her, he could probably help her, and then they team up, and Ty comes back home at the end of the season. I mean, I don't want Ty to come back home because that would mean he and Baby aren't together for real. So it's cool that way. Either way,
You know, she's not real, right? So you can't have her either way, Mo. So we might as well hope for good television.
We might as well.
anyway, thank you, Keem, for coming on this one, for coming to join on this episode. Thank you for helping with all the technical issues behind the scenes. Thank you, Bree, for being patient. Again, this was a really interesting episode. Thank you for helping me do this every week. And we will catch you on next week's episode, right?
Yep.
Peace.